Okay, R32 GTR cold start after a solid day of track work. Let's see how much smoke we're blowing now. Like I say, this car hasn't been out of the garage for 7 years, so to do a oil and filter change and fluid change and then do a whole track day, 2 hours drive away, drive there and drive back, it's pretty impressive. Alright, let's drag it out. Hey, and we've survived our track day, so let's have a little bit of a look at the car. You don't want to be looking at me. Okay, so this is 1989 R32 GTR. As you can see, we've had our track day, which you would have seen the footage of, and just lots of bugs, basically because we drove her there and drove her back. Now this car has been in the garage for 7 years, hasn't been used, as sort of happens when you've got a couple of cars. You can see from the Rally Sprint stickers on it, last time it actually competed was 2012, 2013, so purely to have some oil and fluids changed and some things checked over, and then do a full track day down at Collie in our southwest, driving there and driving it back, not trailered. It's pretty impressive. So what can I tell you about this car? So we've got G7 Panasports on it at the moment. From memory there are 10.5 and an 11 on the back, which is a little bit of a staggered offset, not terribly good for four-wheel drive systems, but these cars aren't too complex. Back in the day I put a set of StopTechs on it, which are nice big meaty brakes. Cannot even remember what size they are. I'd say they're probably 360 millimeters. She's in pretty good condition really. This is how she came in from Japan. I bought it personally and brought it in 2005, I'm gonna say. Had a couple of things I've changed, so we put some Sparco seats in it back in the day. No roll cage or anything, I didn't get that serious. As you can see, nice Momo steering wheel. She had a Nismo cluster in there, which is a pretty rare thing these days. I've got some Defi gauges here. Everybody loves Defi gauges. Just wonderful things to look at. The Pexi Power FC, which is a good thing too back in the day. Not sure it's so much of a good thing now. And this is a bit of a look around the car. So yeah, she's got a little bit of horsepower, running about 500 at all four. Not a lot of horsepower considering what RB26s can make these days. But it's a very usable car. The reason I stopped using it was life just got a little bit in the way, but lucky I was smart enough, I guess, to keep it and not sell it, and just stuffed it away in the corner of the garage. Let's have a bit of a look under the bonnet. So she's fairly nice and tidy under here. I don't know if the camera's helping you out there at all, but fairly nice and clean. I stripped all the engine bay and painted it. I had a guy build the engine for me, so it's still 2.6 litres. However, it does have, what does it have? It has HKS rods from memory and pistons. and it has drop-in cams, a little bit of mild porting to the head, and from memory also about 1000cc injectors, and a little bit of a catch can setup, which all RBs with any sort of track work have. This is by no means a serious track car. This is more of a Sunday sort of cruiser that became a bit of a track car. We've got Olin suspension in it as well, which are nice because we can adjust them fairly easily. So if you want to go for a bit of a drive, you just click them down a bit, and if you want to get to the track, you click them up and make them a bit stiffer. Nice HKS oil cooler, which came with the car. Bit of a custom catch can there, which was custom made, and everything else is just nice and tidy and clean. It was a very straight, tidy car when I bought it, just needed a little bit of a clean up of the engine bay. So I still love these things. They're fabulous cars to drive. The only thing that I would change on it, if I was going to at the moment, is probably the adjustment of the Nismo Pro LSD that I put in the back of it. Fabulous for the track, but very aggressive diff on the street. Not something that's terribly pleasurable to drive around in car parks or anything like that on. And of course I do have another set of wheels with nice road tyres on it too, to make it a little bit easier to drive, because currently it's got these Toyo 888s on it. Not a bad tyre. We're running a 265 35/18. Sort of a budget R comp, if you like. Not a super expensive one. I know the best that I've heard of at the moment are the Yokohama 050s. From memory, they're 2 times the price of these tyres. So yeah, I mean, I'm not that serious, so I'm not that worried about it. Not that worried about gaining an extra second or 2 seconds at this stage. I just like to go and have a bit of a good time and enjoy the camaraderie of a few track days. As you can see, there's a bit of muck here from the exhaust system, which I think is probably because it's had nothing but startups and idles and a quick tootle around the block for the last nearly 7 years. And big ups to that RB26. So yeah, so let's take it for a bit of a spin. So the exhaust's a bit boomy on this. Probably would change that too, quieten it down a little bit if I was going to turn it more into road sort of cruising car. And as I said, it's a little bit stiff suspension wise, but that can be adjusted quite easily to make it a little bit more pleasurable on the road. But just such a good car, such a good platform, such a nice thing to drive, considering, you know, it's a fairly old car these days. 1990 or 89 actually, I think, from memory, this one. So just such a good thing to drive. Such a lovely car, and has a nice little turbo spool if you put it under a bit of load. Just sounds so nice. Such a crisp engine to drive. Beautiful thing. As you can see, she's still a little bit stiff.